So a while back, I did a video on Pivik Pro where I tried it for the very first time, and a lot of you let me know that you really like that video. If you haven't seen it, there's a link in the video description. You can go ahead and watch that as well. But I thought, let's do another one. So today I'm gonna try Matomo. As I explained in the last video, I'm becoming more and more interested in alternatives to Google Analytics 4. And that's not because I don't like it. I work in Google Analytics day in, day out, and I really love it. It's a great product. But I'm also not married to Google Analytics. I'm just very open to learning other programs as well. And I think a little bit competition would be healthy because that really forces the different products to improve even more. And also sometimes I come across a team where I'm just wondering, are they ever gonna understand Google Analytics? I mean, for most people, Google Analytics is not hard to learn. If you just sit down for a day and go through a little bit of training, you would really benefit from that. And Google Analytics can help you make a lot of great decisions on, for instance, how you mark up your pages, how you mark up your navigation, what traffic sources are working and which aren't. But still, there are teams that I come across where it just doesn't click. They would probably benefit from an easier alternative. So that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in learning about alternatives. The other reason is, of course, legislation. Although still, when you set up Google Analytics 4 the right way, it's very unintrusive when it comes to user privacy. I understand that collecting data has got a bad reputation, but putting Google Analytics on your site is way different from putting, let's say, a Meta ads or Facebook pixel on your site. It's very light on user privacy. But still, some countries decided to forbid Google Analytics for a couple of reasons. So you can probably use it, but you need to use it after you've gotten consent, which means that, let's say, if half of the people give consent and say, yes, you can track me online, you're still missing out on half of your data. And especially if you have a website that already has low visitor counts, you end up with maybe 100 or 50 users. So analyzing your site becomes very difficult when the amount of data becomes so small. So that's also a reason why I'm very interested in learning about alternatives that somehow align with GDPR and the interpretation of GDPR a lot better. So yeah, let's switch over where I have the Matomo site up here. The first thing that I see is Google Analytics alternative that protects your data and customers' privacy. I'm probably gonna make a video about this. I sometimes get annoyed by these sites exploiting the fact that Google Analytics has such a bad reputation. If you set it up right, in my opinion, it's very unintrusive when it comes to privacy. But that's for another video. Let's go over the pricing. So what does it cost? So you have two options here. You have on-premise. And I gotta say, about a year ago, I already tried this version of Matomo. So I got my own server, I installed it on there, and I tried it for a while. If you go by this route, you're basically just gonna download a file. Maybe you've installed WordPress on your server. The process is kind of the same. What you will get if you just use the free version is just a very basic version of Matomo. So there are a lot of plugins. If you want to use those plugins, you will need to pay for that. I didn't do that, so I just used the very basic version of it. If you go with the cloud version, you pay a little amount per month, but you get all the plugins included. And I believe if you want them all, this is probably cheaper than going with this free version because you have to pay monthly for the server, of course, as well. So pick the amount of traffic that you have. If you have 1 million hits, you're gonna pay a little bit more. If you have less traffic, you're gonna pay a little bit less. So as I said, I already tried the on-premise version. In the end, I didn't end up using it that much, so I removed it a while back to save up some server costs. Today, I'm gonna take a look at this. And if you click try it for free, you're ending up here. A couple of weeks ago, I already went through this process. So we're gonna switch to that footage right now. And when we're done there, we're coming back and I'll explain how we're logging in and what data is in the reports. So we're going to install Matomo on my website. This is my site. I already have Google Tag Manager set up with some tags like Google Analytics 4 and Pivik Pro. But I'm going to add Matomo Analytics to that. So I'm going to the site, matomo.org, and I'm going to click try it for free. To be honest, I've already done this before. So let's see what happens. Accept terms and conditions. Great. So it turns out that I already applied for an account in the past, but I never went ahead and actually activated the account. I just did. So here we are. We're on my own Matomo page. Matomo.cloud. I see it's still in Dutch, so let's see if I can switch it to English. Yeah, there you go. It's right at the top. So you can all just follow along. I'm gonna save this. So the goal here is to set up Matomo for the first time. I'm gonna leave the tag manager for what it is right now. You can look at that later. Oh, here it is, my site. So Google Tag Manager, oh, it already selects that for me. So it can link to Google Tag Manager and then it adds it for me. Is there just some kind of template that I can use? I prefer to do it myself, to be honest. So let's just look in the template gallery, Matomo. So there are two, and this is the official, yeah. So I'm just gonna use this one. Add to workspace, add, yes. So the Matomo URL, I know that this one right here. Site ID is probably somewhere here. No, I see it here in the parameter. I don't know. Oh yeah, here it is. Matomo URL, site ID. And then, oh, that's it. Disable track page view. Disable link tracking, no. Enable do not track. Yeah, that's kind of nice. If people don't want to be tracked, let's just honor that. Enable the tracking of uncaught JavaScript errors. Could be useful if you maintain a lot of websites. Heartbeat timer. Time spent, yes, I like that. Track all content impressions. Oh, track all content. Track all visible content impressions. Actually visible, that's more useful. Disable cookies. Don't know what that does. Require tracking consent. I don't have user ID. I'm just gonna set this to initialization all pages. I'm gonna call it 0004 Matomo config. Korteweg.nl. Yeah, let's hit preview, see what happens. So yeah, it fired. Visits in real time. Great. Do I also have some kind of testing area, like a debug view, or let's see, session recordings perhaps? No. Visits log. It says all done. That's not correct. But it also did remove the two last parts of my IP address. Perhaps right now it's a little bit easier for Matomo to check what the real location is. So let's go into dashboard. Yeah, visits log. Oh no, I need to go here. It's in test mode. So do I need to refresh this? Oh no, it still says Rotterdam. And it still says, I don't know why. I did change it, right? Privacy, anonymize. Yeah, I did change it. Yeah, so this works. Let's go ahead and create some goals. I already see it here. I want to add my conversions. So add a new goal. There you go. I have two goals. I have a contact form, description, well, kind of redundant. Visit a given URL. Yeah, this looks really familiar. Of course, let's go ahead and my contact form, let's just test at test.nl. A phone number, question is not mandatory. So yeah, and there you go. This is my contact. And when the URL contains, and I like to remove this part because this part can change. Sometimes it has this and sometimes it doesn't. So hey, this is me from the future. We noticed during the edit that the audio dropped off right after I finished setting up my first conversion. So I'm not gonna do the whole thing again. I'm just gonna talk you through what you basically missed. First thing that you missed was me setting up another goal. So under goals and then manage goals. You already saw me setting up this contact form goal. So basically I did the same procedure with this training availability goal. So it's just a different form, different thank you page. And I also set that up with basically the same steps. After that, I go ahead and I look for this page. So it's implement event tracking with Matomo. And then I use this method, this JavaScript method, to set up some events in Google Tag Manager. So I have this Matomo event, nav click. So it's this one. So this is the JavaScript code. And I name this nav click, and then I send click text and click URL as to parameters with that. I also have this session duration event, which is just called session duration. And then the only thing that I send here is the amount of minutes. And this is based on a script that I developed. There's a link, if you look for it on my channel, you'll find it, where you can download it for free. I basically use that script that I made for Google Analytics to see if I can use it also for Matomo, which of course worked out fine. And then I also made this button click event. So it's the same function, but the name is button click, and then I use the click text and the click URL as 2 parameters. So in the video I go ahead and test it. So yeah, let's do that real quick. So I go into my site, kortzeg.nl, and then for instance I click the button on in the navigation, and then if I check it here, there's this Matomo event. Yeah, so it's a little bit scrambled because it's just custom JavaScript, but it basically says this push function, track event nav click, which is the name, then the text that I clicked, and then the link that I clicked. So it works. And the same thing goes for button clicks. So let's check that real quick. So I just clicked a button on the homepage which says maak een afspraak. So again, same function. It's a little bit scrambled because I used a custom HTML tag. It's this push track event, button click, maak een afspraak, and then the clicked URL. So yeah, basically it works. And then if I go into Matomo. So yeah, that's basically what I did during that video. Let's skip ahead and see how the reports look when they actually contain some data. So if you've set up Matomo on your site and you've been tracking data for a couple of weeks, you'll be able to log in. By going to login, you need to find your Matomo URL. So that's, for me, it's kortzeg.matomo.cloud, and then I need to go to login. This is probably the link that you'll want to bookmark and not this, because it saves you a step every time you need to log in. All right, you can fill out your credentials, remember me, and click login. So after you've logged in, this is where you end up. And I already see that this looks a lot bigger than what I'm used to in the version that I used for a while back. It has a lot more things going on. So you have your dashboard here, and I believe that you can, you can remove things. So if I want, I remove this widget, visits over time, movers and shakers, visits overview. So channel types. And to be honest, I really like this. Pivot Pro also did this. This is somehow a little bit clumsy. I don't know why, but still, it's so easy to just set up a basic report that lets you monitor your traffic. And I think this is one of the weaker things in Google Analytics 4, where you just want to get a small overview of everything that's going on your site. You probably need a little bit more work to do that over there. What I remember from using the on-premise version of Matomo is that you can also make a new dashboard. Yeah, so probably, no, it's not this one. All visits, oh, this is a segment, dashboard. Maybe it's in settings. So you have all websites. You also have a tag manager. I might try this later in the video. I'm going into the settings. Security, system, websites, manage, custom reports, no, custom reports found, dashboard, all websites, I thought I was able to make also other dashboards here, but I forgot how to do that. I don't know if it's still possible, maybe they removed it. Let's go just through some of the reports. So I have visits over time. So visits, I assume that's the amount of sessions. Yes, so you have 14 visits, probably is 14 sessions by 6 unique visitors. And of course that's tracked by cookie. I assume that means 6 unique browsers. At least that's how I interpret it. 9 minutes visit duration. I think that's a bit much. I don't think that's correct. At least when I compare it to what I am familiar with, what I see in GA4. Visits log, so this is what I think remember from also the other version. Yeah, so you see everyone that visits comes in this log, and you see for every visit you see what they do. So the page that they open, the URL, title, and then all the events that are being tracked. So I think that's really nice for debugging purposes. So if things are not working correctly, you can check out what's going on. Also, I see here some JavaScript errors. So it's tracking errors that occur on my site, and I was not aware of these errors. So that's, I think, a nice functionality. Real time, I don't really understand last 24 hours. This gives me snapshots of what's going on right now on my site. Visits, actions, real time map, last 24 hours, locations. So what I notice here about this report, locations, is that I'm used to seeing like a larger table where I would just see countries and then with different metrics from those countries. So now it's Europe, North America, Netherlands. So I see a lot of different dimensions that say something about the locations, like region, but they only give me unique visitors. So I'm just wondering if it's possible to switch that up, because I'm kind of interested in how are they behaving. People from the Netherlands spending more time on my site than people from a different country. How about conversions, things like that. It's not showing the totals row. Yeah, so now it's showing totals, that's nice. Display simple table, display a table with visitor. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Okay, so by default, it keeps it simple, but if you want to have more and goal metrics, you can enable it. And is it possible to like drag this over? Export this data set in other, okay, you can export, that's fine. Search, that's also good if you want to look for country. Loading data, yeah, so that's kind of works as expected. So, but you can perhaps drag this over, no? Exclude low population. Revenue. Oh, here it is. Display a simple table is just the basic table, and then you switch over to the goal metrics, visitor engagement. Yeah, so all right. Oh, and you have insights. So what's that? Evolution. So it's a comparison. So a vertical bar graph. Okay. Pie charts. Tag cloud. Oh no, that's really old. Okay. So we're already learning a little bit about the setup, how it's laid out. It's really dashboard style so far, but everything that I want to know is in there. Devices. Probably the same behavior. Yeah, so I can also get the goals per device, simple table, smart speaker. So they have a lot of other device types that I'm not used to. So far so good. Let's go on. Operating systems, browsers, headless Chrome, Firefox, Chrome, browser engines, configurations, browser plugins. Some things are really like legacy things, like Flash, like whoever is using Flash these days, I don't know. Times, like when are people visiting the site, user IDs, cohorts. Good. Not bad. Behavior. So this is where if people are on the site, what's their behavior, I guess. And then we see all kinds of like events, downloads, pages. So in pages, they are following the URL structure of my site. So I have this page on my site, Google Analytics Specialist, and then under that there's no other site page, but under training I have Google Analytics 4 in company. So it's kind of a tree that you unravel, and then at the top level you see like a combined. I really like this. So you see the total amount of views within that folder on your site, so to speak. So I have a folder training, and every page that's under training, so it's like the base page itself, but then also the root page under training itself, but also all the different other pages, they are combined, and then you see the views. That's nice. Page load time, time on page. So time on page, it's 0 on many pages. This is a thing that GA4 is actually really good at, counting the time that people are spending on the page. Here it's 0. Maybe I've set it up incorrectly, but these times are not so reliable. And then contact all of a sudden is 30 minutes, but then it's just one page view. It's strange. Yeah, entry pages. So this landing pages. And what I want to see on landing pages is not just entrances, not just bounce, but I want to see the goals. Yeah, and I'm able to do that as well. Fantastic. Great. Of course, I have a very small site. I'm just measuring this for maybe a week or two. So this will not show me a lot of data, but we can work with it. Exit pages, like where do people leave the site. I did a video on this last week. So if you're interested in learning more about exit pages, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description. Page titles. Yeah, For some reason, this is always in these programs. I don't use it. Page titles. Site search, I don't have it, but great that it's here. Outlinks. I don't have a lot of outlinks. I have downloads, but also very little. But it's great that they already make a report for this. Because in GA4, at this moment in time, you need to build your own reports if you want to see where people click from your site to different site, or if you want to see what downloads have people clicked on, for instance, PDF documents or Word documents. I mean, GA4 tracks it automatically, but you need to make your own report for it at this point in time. And here it is already, and I love that. Events. This is the format that we know and love from the old Google Analytics version. So categories, action names, and I have set this up like this. So I have nav click. So this means like where do people click in my navigation. I really love to track those things because especially in larger organizations where you have a lot of discussion about, and also there's a really big opportunity to improve user experience in your navigation. So it makes a lot of sense to track that. Event categories, and then that's it. I don't think I have names under there. Session duration I did track, so the amount of minutes that people spent on there, so I can make conversions with it. JavaScript errors are tracked as an event, so I have a spam protection plugin that somehow generates some errors, and then I have a button click. So far really nice, I like it. Visitor engagement metric, contents, engagement, so it's like new versus returning, I think, yeah, new returning, new visits. Transitions. Okay, this is something that a lot of people are interested in. So for instance, if you have a specific page that you're looking at, you want to optimize it together with your team, and you're just looking like, how do people land on this page? For instance, this Google Analytics specialist, how do people land on it? Well, they're coming from the home page, they're reading this, and then when they leave, it's a visual. I like it. And this is something that GA4 at this point, it does do it under explorations, but it's not as easy as this. This will make a lot of teams happy if they end up building this in GA4. They probably won't, I think, but I like this. So let's talk about these performance metrics. I think this is a little bit old-fashioned because page load time is not always a good metric to measure the speed of your site. Let me explain. So a page that loads for 3 seconds but is blank all the way, so you're just looking at a white piece of screen up until the page is loaded after 3 seconds, and then it's done all of a sudden and then you can read. That's worse than when a page is loading for 6 seconds, but after a half a second there's already a logo on there, there's already a title, there's already a picture loading, you can start reading. That site, even though it loads twice as long, will feel a lot faster because you can immediately interact with the page and start to read it. So page load metrics are kind of old-fashioned. So I don't say you cannot look at this, but I would use tools like Page Speed Insights with this URL. Then you just fill out your URL here. I would use those. That's the way Google looks at it. That's the way browsers look at it. That's a better representation of how fast a site feels rather than just the load times. All right, so I'm just gonna skip this. User flow. So if somebody lands on my site, clicks through, like what's the level of detail, majority, many, few, all, number of actions. So it starts here with some kind of host name or just page URLs, explore traffic, exploring traffic, okay. How do I get back? Maybe just click here. Yeah. Highlight traffic, show details. Yeah. I don't really understand that, like what this means. Do people have to land on my homepage? The amount of options here. Yeah, maybe I have to read. This visualization shows you the visitors navigate to your site. Add more steps. Yeah. On the plus icon, top right. Okay. List of all your pages proceeded from. Interaction title. I'm kind of against these kinds of user flows. I made a video on that also. Like what should I use, a funnel or a user flow? But if you want to make a user flow, usually I want to choose a page, for instance this one. So this probably doesn't mean anything. So it shows me the host name here. I'm sorry, I don't understand what I'm looking at here. Because I would expect to just have this page and then just see from that page, if you are on the page, what are people going to? Maybe they click on the home page, maybe they click on contact, and how many people are going through. Maybe the amount of data is also very low here. That could be a reason why I'm not seeing a lot of things. And also I have a testing domain here that is polluting this report a little bit. But I have to say, if you're gonna use a user flow report, I kind of like the GA4 version better. But I don't like user flows anyways, so I'm just gonna go on. Enough behavior. Then acquisition, probably the reason or a big reason why you want to use some kind of program like this is just figuring out where do my visitors come from. So this is just written out alongside this sparkline visualization. I kind of like it. So search engines, campaigns, keywords, search engines, all channels. So you have a channel grouping and then no keywords defined. So this was dropped from Google, I think years ago. You're still looking at keyword not defined here. I think they should probably remove this from Matomo. This is very old. In the maybe 5 or 6 years or maybe longer, previously you could see from Google what the keyword was, because maybe they put it in the refer field, but for a program it was easy to collect it. Right now, like a long time ago, they removed this. So if you want to know what people searched for on search engines, you probably need to collect to Search Console, and I believe they also have this here. But yeah, they probably should just remove this. You will always see keyword not defined here. Keyword and search engine, yeah, this is what I mean. Connect Google Search Console. No, I'm not gonna do it. This will make the video too long. Websites, social networks, campaigns, so I don't have enough data. Campaign URL builder. This is great. So usually if you want to make URLs for your email newsletter or for your social media post or campaign, you need to go to an external form and fill this out. This has a campaign URL builder included. So if I want to track, or if I want to build a URL, for instance, I want to send people to my homepage and I want to make this a campaign, for instance, summer campaign, and then I don't have it, and source is, for instance, my MailChimp. I don't have MailChimp, but let's say, for example, and a medium email. Yeah, those are the 3 fields that I usually recommend. So you have a source and a medium. Generate URL. Yeah, this will, oh no. So let's look at this. So this is really a missed opportunity. So there's the standard with these kinds of parameters are UTM parameters, but somehow they chose to make these parameters custom. So it's just MTM campaign, MTM source. And what this means is that you can probably use these campaign URLs for Matomo, but if you use them, this information will not end up in other programs. However, if you are using the standard, so UTM campaign, UTM source, UTM medium, probably other programs will understand it. For instance, PBIC Pro just uses the UTM campaign and UTM source. I think Matomo will figure this out also, but if you're using custom parameters, they will not end up in other programs alongside Matomo. So this is a missed opportunity, and that's why I would never use this campaign URL builder, to be honest. But yeah, now that I think about it, if you're just using Matomo and you're not using any other program, this will work. Yeah, it's just sad, a missed opportunity that they didn't stick to the standard. Anyways, let's move on. E-commerce. Yeah, so you have e-commerce. I don't have a web shop, so this doesn't have any data. Let's look at e-commerce, how you would set that up, because I'm just generally interested. Matomo, e-commerce, user guide. So you probably need some JavaScript, set up e-commerce tracking. So you have integrations, that's really good. So you don't need to do so much work. But what if there isn't an integration? So I'm interested in situations where there is a data layer and you want to put an item in their cart. So they see a product, they put it in the cart. Usually you would have some kind of data layer call that says add to cart and then the product that was added. And I'm just curious how you would set that up. Data measured and reported by e-commerce tracking. So we're just looking, manually tracking e-commerce. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna need. So there are several categories of actions that we'll need to integrate for full e-commerce tracking. Product views, optional. Cart updates, order updates. So the order updates, is that maybe a purchase? Because it's the only one that's required. So product views is optional. Category views, okay. So you can make a product list view. Cart updates, so it's probably a combination of adding things and removing things from the cart, I assume. Tracking orders, yeah, tracking orders. Currency variable must be yeah, it looks good. It's a little bit less extensive perhaps than GA, but still we're collecting like a lot of the same data. So I think it looks fine. E-commerce log, so products, sales, So sales by refers, yeah, this is nice. Sales by pages, sales by engagement. This looks very user-friendly. Multi-attribution, yeah, so you have attribution models. They're gonna remove this from GA, and maybe if you're watching this video, they have already done that. In GA4, you only have, I believe, the data-driven event model and then the last click or something. But they removed the linear and the position-based models, or they're gonna do that in September, I believe. So, goals, overview, we're getting there. So this is just the total amount of goals, and I set up 2 goals, contact form and training availability, manage goals. So the settings are included alongside reports. I'm wondering what happens if you don't have, like, can you limit this to some team members? Like if you're working with other people, and some people tend to mess up things when they're trying out the program. So this is of course a little bit sensitive. Like you don't want to delete this, for instance, or want to pollute your reports with other goals. So I'm wondering what would happen if you would add other users. Anyways, let's move on. Funnels, I haven't assigned that. So forms, so it's gonna automatically track forms, I believe. So you have 2 views of a form, real time, admin bar, search. Yeah, so it has 2 sides. One side is very convenient if a program automatically tracks forms. On the other side, there are a lot of forms that are really not conversions. For instance, the search bar on top of your page is basically a form. So if you're tracking form views and there's a search bar on top of your page, it's gonna track a form view every time somebody opens a page. So on one side it's convenient, on the other side you probably end up with a lot of data that's not so useful. But anyways, it's there. Media, what does it mean? Video, so I don't have videos, I don't have audio on my site, so I don't understand what it is. So it's probably, yeah, YouTube player, HTML5 video, HTML5, yeah, so they have a couple of standards, and I think this will probably cover 99% of all videos on your site, and it's automatically gonna track that. Again, I love it. So GA4 does track YouTube embeds, but again, it doesn't make reports about it. So you need to make your own report. Maybe in the future they will add it, but at this point in time, you still need to make your own reports. And here it's included, and I really like that. A/B tests. So this is a functionality where you can create A/B test. This is not like Google Optimize or Visual Website Optimizer. This is a very basic functionality where you can set up A/B tests, but you still need to do work in your site. So if I want to A/B test my homepage, I need to make homepage B, for example, build my variant there, and then here I can set it up. This is not like Google Optimize or A/B Tasty or some other program where you just open up a page, change a bunch of things, and in 5 minutes, boom, you have your own A/B test. So this is kind of old-fashioned, but still nice that it's there, but I would not use this. Heatmaps, so manage heat map. Yeah, this is nice. Let's use the homepage. So URL equals simple. So yeah, let's just do the homepage. Yeah, activities will be recorded. Name. So how many do you want to track? Yeah, I have just a super low user count, so I'm just going to increase the sample rate to 100%. Excluded elements. So if you make a heat map, it could be that there is sensitive information on the page. For instance, if you make a heat map of your form and you're recording it, maybe like the information that I fill out in this form will end up in my heat map. I don't know. So you need to define CSS sectors that you want to exclude, or maybe a login for your customers where they log in and then they see their name, their address. You probably want to anonymize that stuff. Screenshot URL. Yeah, that's probably some edge case that I don't immediately understand. So what do you define as a mobile page? What do you define as a tablet page? I'm just gonna create it. Homepage, manage heat maps. So edit heat map, stop recording, view report. No, it doesn't have any page view yet. Okay, moving on, session recordings. Oh, we're gonna, this reminds me, contact form. Oh no, we're just gonna, all sessions, let's do that. Number of sessions, that's fine. Any example, yeah, sample report. Let's just record everyone. Minimum session, no, capture keystrokes. So I don't want to capture keystrokes because I want to protect whatever is in those fields. So if somebody fills out the form, they will replace that with a star. And here you can unmask it if you want. But yeah, we're not going to enable this feature because we're going to record personal data that we don't want that. So we're going to create a new session recording. Unfortunately, you will not see what the session recording will be, but setting it up is really easy. And then we can make a custom report. Let's try that. So let's do, okay, organic landing pages. Organic landing pages. Apply to this site, yes. I have one site, so it's a table. I want a landing entry page, yeah. So it's kind of similar to Piwik. It reminds me of Piwik. And then entry page URL. I can maybe channel type. Oh, I want it reversed. So entry. I cannot drag these, so I need to, yeah. And then metrics, I want a visits, unique visitors. So I kind of like the way that it puts visits, like sessions first and then unique visitors. Because in the ideal world, you want to know the amount of users that you're reaching. But to be honest, that's just not realistic. As long as we need cookies to track users, we're only tracking the unique amount of browsers. And that doesn't correspond to users. So users, even though programs report users, it's usually not really a reliable statistic anyway. So I kind of like it that it puts visits first. Unique visitors, let's say bounce rate. So what does it mean, bounce rate? The percentage of visit only single page view. Yeah, so it's the old definition. So we're in GA4, it does takes read time into account. So if somebody reads your page for more than 10 seconds, it will not calculate that as a bounce. I like the definition better, but here it's just the old definition where it's just people need to click in order to not bounce. Time on site, average. So average, I want just session duration, visit duration in seconds per visit. Yeah, let's try this. Goals. Yeah, I have contact form, conversion rate, conversions. Yeah, I just want the total conversions, training availability, filter, preview report, direct entry, and then the, yeah. Wonderful. So create new reports, organic landing pages. So under search engines, I can see all the organic landing pages. Or what I could do, of course, can I edit it? Or how can I edit? Manage reports. So I could also, of course, just remove channel type from this. So you can make a report, but somehow, if you change it, it removes some of the data in this report. So that's really interesting. I would assume that you just have a data set, then you can create a report around it, and the data set is there. So the report's kind of an empty shell based on the data set, but somehow the report determines also what data is being collected. That's something that I would not expect at least. So, but I have the entry page URL and I want to filter that based on, I want the organics. So let's say channel. Yeah, there it is. Channel type is, what do I need here? Organic. So one of the things that you probably want to do if you don't know what it's called is just go into acquisition, all channels, search engines. That's probably the value that they are going to look at. So channel type equals search engines. And just to be sure, I'm just going to, oh, here it is. Contains search. Preview report, there is no data. Oh, so it says I have no visits from social today. That's fine. I'm going to update it. So this is a thing. I think in Matomo, if you build a report, you kind of define what you want, and then it starts tracking and saving that data in a database somehow. It doesn't, or you cannot create reports based on historic data that you've already collected. I believe that this is a big difference between Matomo and Piwik Pro, because on Piwik Pro, if I can remember correctly, you just had your historic data in your database, and then whenever you created a new report, boom, it was there in seconds. And here somehow you need to wait for data to come into the report after you've made it. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. I see that I'm already recording for a long time, but let's just go over the interface real quick. I have to say, I kind of like it. It feels easy, accessible. If I compare Matomo to Piwik, I think Piwik looks a little bit more professional. It is a little bit more elaborate, especially when it comes to custom reports. If you want to do some deeper analysis, I think you'd be better off there. This feels a little bit more old-fashioned in some way. I really appreciate both platforms. They are super fast, so whenever you click reports, boom, it's there. I love that. That's just awesome. But would I recommend this? I think so. To be honest, I would probably prefer Piwik over Matomo. First of all, because it's free up to certain points, but also because of these custom reports that really makes me wonder what kind of side effects are there, and are there limitations here that I don't see right away. But yeah, overall, I really like this program. Let's look at this segment feature real quick. So let's make a basic segment, mobile users. So unfamiliar with all these terms, but let's just look for device. Yeah, probably one of these. Device type I'm going for. Yeah, so I want just a mobile phone, probably smartphone. I don't have smartphone users. Is that really? Let's go for all visits. Yeah, so I only have desktop visits. Oh, you have multiple segments. Let's go for a different segment. Let's go for channel, a channel type. Channel type is search. Yeah, and I'm gonna say organic traffic. Save and apply. You're about to change the segment definition. Your analytics reports for this new segment won't be available until the reports are reprocessed. Okay, so it looks like you will be able to use the segment in historic data, but they need time to process. So there's no data yet, and it will take a couple of hours. To be honest, this whole thing, like with this reprocessing, I don't really like it. And this is the reason why I would lean more toward Piwik Pro. Apart from that, so far I really like this program. It's really user-friendly. It feels very accessible. There's a tag manager in here that I'm not gonna go review right now because this video would take too long. So the settings we already covered in the setup phase. So here's what's new. And there's a help section. Alright, that's it for today. Even though this video was very unstructured, of course, I hope you like it. I hope you got some value out of it. And maybe you're interested in alternatives for Google Analytics for some reason. And I hope this video was helpful for you. Overall, I've tried 2 programs so far alongside GA, Piwik and Matomo. Both programs were great. And my personal preference would be, I think, Piwik, because it feels a little bit faster. With custom reports and segments, I believe that program is a little bit maybe more aimed also at the larger organizations. But still, this program is great, and especially when you do have lots of visits, Piwik Pro can get expensive very quickly for smaller organizations at least, and this might be a good option for you. There's one feature in Matomo that I didn't cover, and that is that you are able to import Universal Analytics data to Matomo. I didn't cover it because I like my videos to be as evergreen as possible, and of course that's just relevant for this year. But I might do a video on that if you're interested in it, because this year we need to export our Universal Analytics data if we want to keep it, and Matomo might be a great option to do that. If you're interested in that, please let me know down in the comments. If you got any value out of this video, please click the like and subscribe buttons. That would really help me getting this channel off the ground and get the videos out there to reach more people. Apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you'll have a great day. See you in the next video. Goodbye.